President Donald Trump has suggested that his administration might, quote, run New York City if the Democrats' nominee for mayor, Zohran Mamdani, wins the election in November. The White House declined to explain what federal control over the city might look like, and Mamdani's campaign claims that the president is insulting our city's voters. Kevin Fry in our Washington, D.C. bureau joins me now with tonight's top story. Good evening, Kevin.
Yeah, good evening, Earl. There's a chance this could just be part of President Trump's bluster, of course, but this comes as he has launched multiple broadsides against both Mamdani and the city in recent weeks.
President Donald Trump launching another attack against Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic nominee for mayor of his hometown.
This is a man who's not very capable, in my opinion, other than he's got a good line of bullshit, and he's convinced them to go with him.
The president also offering this threat.
If a communist gets elected to run New York, it can never be the same, but we have tremendous power at the White House to run places when we have to.
What that could look like in practice was not immediately clear. The White House declined to expand on his comments, though the president has repeatedly in recent weeks threatened to hold up federal funding for the city in the event Mamdani is elected.
If he does get in, I'm going to be president, and he's going to have to do the right thing, or they're not getting any money.
One analyst told us that the president could certainly try to indirectly influence public policy in New York by attaching strings to federal funding for things like law enforcement or housing. But taking a more hands-on role would be difficult.
Direct control of the city seems unlikely, and certainly court challenges would fly all over the place if the president tried to intervene in the affairs of New York City.
In a statement, the Mamdani campaign fired back at President Trump, writing, Donald Trump has once again chosen to treat democracy like a suggestion. As mayor, Mamdani will not allow Donald Trump to tear this city apart. Instead, he will be a model for what leadership should look like, laser focused on the cost of living crisis and protecting the freedoms and liberties that make this country incomparable. And Governor Kathy Hochul, who was yet to formally endorse Mamdani, pushed back on the president on social media, writing, voters decide who runs New York City, not Washington, and certainly not wannabe kings.
And that's, of course, not the first time that she has basically tried to punch at Trump, labeling him a wannabe king. Now, President Trump was asked as part of this meeting today with his cabinet by a reporter as to what his advice would be to Republicans in New York. Who should they be backing? Would it be the Republican nominee, Curtis Sliwa? Would it be the incumbent mayor, Eric Adams? He said that he, quote, did not want to get involved. He did, however, describe Andrew Cuomo, who, of course, lost the Democratic primary to Mamdani, as, quote, in his words, capable.
So now, Kevin, he's saying he doesn't want to get involved, but he seems to have an opinion about everything, as well as some scary-sounding threats.
Yeah, and it's quite unclear exactly to how he's going to build on all of this. This was all kind of a remark that, as Trump likes to describe it, the weave, that he started by saying he's not going to comment, then he weighed in on a multitude of issues without really saying anything firm or specific. The one other thing to note here is that he invoked Washington, D.C. as part of this idea of running the city. Washington, D.C. operates under a very different auspice as a part of the Constitution. Congress has some control and powers over Washington, whereas New York City is in New York State and under the 10th Amendment is under that control.
Right. And of course, as a political matter, this actually might end up helping Mamdani. We should, remember that Donald Trump lost New York City 3 times, in 2016, again in 2020, and again just last year.
Yes, and quite frankly, what we are looking at to define this year's election, probably next year's gubernatorial race as well, which is why you see Governor Hochul weighing in here, is that punching back against Trump is going to be a defining mark of the Democratic strategy.
Okay, thanks very much, Kevin.